Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
Number 9, man, I'm gonna be ready and hype. Let's just gonna be hype. My banner gonna be up right next to my brothers, Zebo, Big Spain. It's a great feeling, man. Never imagined this. I didn't think this would ever be a thing, and it's one of the biggest days of my life. I'm looking forward to it.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock.
They knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by WWE.
And then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
We had big classic news from the Southern Heritage Classic last week when it was announced Arkansas Pine Bluff and Alcorn State will be the 2 classic participants.
Being a part of the classic is a big deal. It's the 3rd year for UAPB and the 1st year for Alcorn. So I'm just glad we were able to get it done.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Live from downtown Memphis, this is the Chris Vernon Show on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Chris Vernon.
It's noon on GrindCityMedia.com. It's Chris Vernon Show. Welcome. It's a Wednesday, March 12th, 2025 edition of the show. Today on the show, Alan Boston, our favorite college basketball wise guy. He's going to join us because conference tournament week is going on. We need to find out about all of these college basketball teams that we are going to be watching. The game's going on today, and it's going to be hot and heavy for the next couple of days before we get into Selection Sunday. Some good news for the Memphis Tigers today. They are not going to play their first game until tomorrow afternoon. Grizzlies back in action tonight and on Channel 5 tonight against the Utah Jazz, as another home game is going to be at FedEx Forum. We'll get to all the news and notes today. We'll get to Alan Boston. It's a Wednesday. It's beautiful outside. Smile. Let's do it. Turn it up. Once in your life, won't you do what feels right instead of waiting for the next big thing to strike? Stop running your mouth. Get out of the house. Get yourself downtown and shake. Everybody's having a good day. All right, ton of stuff to get to on the show today, not the least of which is the Grizzlies going to be back in action tonight against the Utah Jazz, trying to get a 4-game win streak under their belt before they've got 2 huge games coming up this weekend, including the Tony Allen retirement ceremony. Before I get to anything, welcome John Roser to the show. John Roser, a.k.a. the Cologne Ranger, the Baptist Spring Bandits, Senior Sack, Johnny Backpole, Johnny Bearcat, the Grim Roser, John Asparagus, Johnny Decarb, John Lance. He's Yogi Roser. He's John Quadrant. He's Dr. Thunder. Hello, John.
What up?
Devin Walker's here. He's the microphone mangler. Senor Quasadilla. Mr. Man. Navajo Joe. The reporter. The photographer. He's your hit. Walker 93.
Hey, I want to give a big shout out to my dog, Trey Draper. He had a book fair yesterday at the gallery in Whitehaven. A free book fair for the kids. Kind of giving kids books, blah, 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 teaching them how to, like, all that kind of stuff. Zach Edey showed up. Mondo Baycott showed up. Our boy TA was there.
Yep.
It was a good, amazing turnout, bro. So many people out there. Good food, good vibes. My dog Trey put on for the city, bro.
That's awesome.
His foot. You talk about feet on the ground in the city of Memphis. My dog Trey is out there. That book fair was. Marie Fagans was out there. She was on the microphone.
So I guess he has the prior relationship with both Baycott and Edey because of his time at IMG.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And Tony popped up out there. Also, the big thing was our boy Charles Mabry was out there.
Yeah.
So the guy you all know, Charles Mabry, sits courtside every Grizzly game.
Who's become huge on TikTok because of his interactions with the players that he posts on TikTok.
Exactly. He was out there and he was telling kids, if you because this is the thing, bro. I think a lot of kids kind of lose track sometimes. Like, yo, either it's sports or nothing, right? So Charles out there, he said, yo, you pull up your power school. I know y'all got access to y'all power school. All y'all got phones. Pull up your power. If you got A's and B's, I got something for you. So kids pulled it up. They scrapping. They pulling up. If you got A's and B's, $100.
Really?
Gave out at least $2,000 yesterday.
Wow.
To kids, if they showed them they had A's and B's, gave them $100 piece. On the spot. So shout out to the kids, man. Shout out Trey. Shout out Charles. Shout out Tony, Zach, everybody that popped out yesterday.
That's
awesome. It was a dope event, bro. Shout out to my dog.
That's awesome. Trey's been doing a really good job on the Tigers broadcast too.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's making his mark in a
Boots on
big
the ground,
way.
Man. Shout out to my dog.
You know, you frequently see Trey Draper with the Morant crew, who he is close with, and I saw. And this got a lot of love via social media last night. In fact, my Mismatch co-host Jacoby sent to me this morning, God, I love this, and sent me a picture showing Kari, Morant's daughter, holding up a huge Yuki sign, sitting front row at the Memphis Hustle game last night. So Morant and Kari were there cheering on Yuki last night, and I'd imagine you probably had a pretty other good contingent there at the Hustle game, right, Roser?
It was T. Ja was not there. T
Oh,
was
it wasn't.
there.
Oh, okay,
T.
okay.
It was T and Kari. No, there weren't any Grizzlies players there. There were about 4 or 5 Jazz players that showed up because we played their G League team and we
Could
played
you
the Jazz
identify
tonight.
them?
Yes.
Well, okay.
Yes. John Collins was there. John Collins. Kenyon Martin Jr. was there.
He should have been on the court.
Cody Williams was there. And Svi Mikhailuk.
Wow.
And then there was another. Oh, who was the other?
Who's
Keontae George. Keontae George was there.
Who's on their G League team? Who's on the Jazz's G League
Some
team?
dude that was rooting for them need to be on the Jazz.
Let me introduce you to Elijah Harkless.
Vernon.
Who on Sunday.
40.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. On Sunday, Elijah Harkless played against the Memphis Hustle. It was a back-to-back against the same team. And Elijah Harkless scored 40 points, which was his career high. Until last night, when he scored 44 points against us.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Is he super awesome, or did
He's
he just
on a
have
two-way. No, he's awesome.
Did he just have the
He
two?
averages like 26 a game,
pulling
27 a
that,
game.
bro. I was watching the game.
He's awesome.
Pulling that joint, bro. Just
Where's he from?
on the pull-up.
Where did he go?
Come on, Roser. You
Yeah,
just
you
called 2
called
of his
a game.
I
games.
did just call his game.
What
Where did
you're
he go?
You're gross. Where you gotta look it up?
Yeah, I don't
This
remember
guy
where he
just
went to
dropped
college.
84 points in 2 games
Yeah.
against the Grizzlies, and you got no idea who he is.
UNLV. He went to UNLV. Yeah, he's a two-way player.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro.
He's the one that on Sunday I told you. I said I'm gonna jump off my roof if you tell me that's Mo Harkless's kid.
Oh, yeah.
He's not Mo Harkless' kid. He's not Mo Harkless.
Is he related to Mo Harkless?
No, he's not. Not related to him.
Let me double check.
There's no way he's not related to Mo Harkless at all.
find out,
Yeah,
bro.
you don't even know where he went to college. What do you know? Unprepared.
Oh, I'm
Gross.
totally prepared.
No, the son of Sharice Sterling, Kevin Harkless. He has 2 sisters, Lanisha and Creation.
Creation Harkless.
Creation Harkless.
That's awesome.
And 2 brothers, Kevin and Aaron Harkless. He studied urban studies at UNLV, a.k.a. I don't want to go to school.
Was he awesome at UNLV?
He was made second team, third team All Mountain West. He wasn't like
Not great.
He's 19 points a game.
Not he's an he's not like an All-American. Most of these two-way guys are.
Was he a
are
drafted
good
guy? Did he
college
get drafted in the
players.
second round, or is he undrafted?
Undrafted in 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
He played.
84 points in 2 games is nothing to sneeze at.
I'm telling you, bro. I was watching the joint, and even Rose was like, "Yo, is somebody gonna guard him?"
Yeah.
It was literally on like just
Elijah Harkless.
And they
guard?
actually
Is he a guard?
guards.
Yeah, and they
6'2",
actually did a
6'3".
good job at the last possession. They didn't let him get the ball. They kept the ball out of his hands.
Wow.
Yeah, they were trying to get it to him, and they couldn't. They did a good job defensively, and
That man
then they ended up getting fouled. Micah Potter hit 2 free throws, and
He was
So
cooking
Hustle
us.
lost.
Yeah, we
but
lost
Yuki had the most
back-to-back.
awesome dime ever.
We've lost 4 in a row.
Awesome
Bad
dime
for
on the
us.
baseline. So are you guys out of the playoffs?
Not out of it, but like, man, we came home. We were 12-10. Came home for 4 straight, and lost all 4.
See, bro. You
Well, you lost Zion.
comfortable.
If you wouldn't have lost Zion, I don't
Not
think it's the
Zion.
same way.
Miles Norris. Miles is the one.
Zion pulling was.
Zion's good, but like we won without him too. Like Miles, we have
Miles is
not
that
won.
dude.
We have not won since Miles went out. Since
Miles
we lost
Nor-
Miles to the Celtics, we have
Miles
not won.
Norris is the one that got signed by the Celtics
Yeah.
to a 2-way.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dang.
It's the price of having good players when you're in
games
the
are
G
close.
Leagues,
We
right?
had chances.
Price of having good players when you're in the G Leagues that they're going to get signed away from you.
Yep.
If they're too good, which is
That's what's going to run into that Salt Lake team. Like they're really good. They're they're one of the best offensive teams. Like we're like the top 2 offensive teams in the league. But what's going to happen to them probably come playoff time? Like they're 4th, I think, 4th in the West. Dude, the Jazz aren't trying to win games. So, like, their two-way guys
Well-
are all going to end up getting called up. And
But they didn't even have.
I don't know if they
Thomas.
will though. I don't know if they will get
Maybe
called up
not.
though, because what happens with that is
They try.
You're trying, and usually if you're not very good, it's awesome to have a great G League team.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Right? We did.
I mean, not last year. No.
No,
we
because everybody had to play for the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
But if you've got your guys and like they're doing, well, this team has lost a bunch of games in a row. This Utah Jazz team that the Grizzlies are playing tonight.
Yeah.
But I will say, as I mentioned when I was on with Gary earlier, I respect them because we saw them earlier this year here. And unlike, say, Charlotte, unlike, say, Washington, when you see them, like there's a lot of these teams, especially when it gets late in the year, and you're down, like, that they're just playing for the lottery. They're playing for ping pong balls. And you sit there and you go, what is the point of this, right? Like and I've covered a lot of tanking teams. And one of the things that I talked about last year regarding the Grizzlies is this is a lost season for sure. And you're going to lose a bunch of games. And you're probably not going to put out lineups that have the capability of winning. But you also have to run plays, and you also have to teach these guys how to compete, and you also have to keep a standard of which, okay, you're not as talented as your peers, but it doesn't mean we're just going to go out there and we're going to whoever gets the ball gets to shoot the ball, and we're not going to defend. You have to, again. There has to be accountability. Like if a guy is just not going to defend at all, then he doesn't get to play. Right? Like you can't, otherwise you just build horrendous habits that are very, very hard to ever get out of. And it can really, hurt a player's career if it starts like that. I have a true belief in that if you are playing on, on these 55 to 65 lost teams, that you at least have to create a standard. And I will say, and there's a lot of coaches that just they're sitting on the bench by the time it gets to the third quarter, and they don't even care what happens, and you see guys like throwing these crazy passes. I will say, it was a long-winded way of saying, I respect the Jazz. Will Hardy will coach every play. He'll use his challenges, and there is an expectation. They can't just go out there and screw around. They have real players, and they'll play. It's not good enough to win, but they'll play.
Yeah.
And they make you beat them, right? Same way that was the Grizzlies last year. They're very reminiscent in that way. It's okay, yeah, I got it. You're starting a backcourt of Johnny Juzang and Isaiah Collier, right? That's what they started Sunday when they played against the Celtics. Yeah. So they had Isaiah Collier and they had Johnny Juzang. Those other three guys are real NBA players: Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, and John Collins. Yeah. And then you got a couple guys that come off the bench. Obviously, Filipowski's had some moments. Cody Williams has had a super rough rookie season. But, those guys are expected to compete. They're expected to run sets. They're expected to play. And, again, they make you at least beat them. And that's kind of what the Grizzlies got into last year. It was all right, you're playing Vince Williams, and you're playing G.G. Jackson, you're playing Scottie Pippen Jr., and you're playing some guy you've never heard of, and you're playing Deaky, and you're playing all these guys. But, you still got to go out there and, run the plays and play defense. Yeah. It's not going to be good enough in the end, but there is a standard at least set. And so I respect them. I respect the way they're doing it, and I respect their coach for coaching it out, even though they are severely shorthanded.
Because even tonight, Keontae George, Jaden Springer's questionable.
Marketing doesn't play anymore.
Marketing's questionable. Jordan Clarkson's questionable. So Oscar Sheba, he's on the G League team. But there should be John Collins and them again against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, well, and it's sandwiched between a Phoenix game and a big back-to-back coming up. Well, specifically Cleveland, who's might be the best team in the league Friday night. So it's an easy if you don't take it serious.
That's right.
I think at this point we gotta, I think it's that time of year.
Well, and
I
will say it is certainly one of the things I've noticed over the course of the last 24 hours, especially after Morant had the good fourth quarter against Phoenix, is there's been a lot more John Morant content over the course of the past 24 hours because the Grizzlies are on a 3-game win streak. They won that game against Phoenix, and he's had these consecutive 10-point fourth quarters. And people see his, Andy's had that crazy missed poster dunk, and he's also had to bounce in his step. He's been dancing around. He's been doing call 12. He's been doing the T thing with Nick Richards the other night and all this stuff. And people have noticed, hey, it's starting to look like John Morant is back to being John Morant. And no small part of that is, we've talked about it a couple different times, Obviously, there has been some pain relief that has taken place, which I'm sure has helped things. But beyond that is a lot more John Morant basketball being played, right? A team that did not really set a lot of screens, therefore creating, he's always going to get the Dyson Daniels and the Mikal Bridges and the Lou Dorts of the world guarding him. And if you're in the absence of a screen, there's no relief to that. And so then we would see him playing thumb wars with Mikal Bridges in the corner. It's like, bro, what are we doing, right? Like, you've seen a lot more screens. And to wit, Kevin O'Connor and Steve Jones Jr. did this little video that I saw this week, and it was talking about, how those numbers of him running pick and rolls were like high 30s, like 38, 39, like these high numbers a game. And at one point this year, it was like less than 15, less than half. It's still about half, but recently that number has ticked up greatly. And it's something that, Taylor Jenkins talked about in the year, right? Installing this offense, but then also being able to get back to some of the staples of, and those staples of were the things that made John Morant.
Yes.
Right? And so one of the things that we talked about a lot after the All-Star break, all right, you got 20-something games left. What matters? It's number one on that list, with the number two being so far down the list. Well, number two is obviously, 2 and 3 are still important, which is you still got to find your defensive mojo. And a lot of that is just 13 coming back, right? And then you still got to figure out against the better competition how to keep your turnovers low and not give up so many points off of turnovers, right? Because the other stuff, if you could just get that number down, it's your real Achilles heel this year. But number one, by a wide margin, was how do you get your best player to be your best player again? Yeah. And I think people have taken notice recently of how there's been a lot more John Morant, especially late in these games, because stuff starts to bog down, stuff gets in the half court, and you need to have a good blend of him being able to be at his peak of powers, and also, more importantly, him not being so frustrated.
Yeah.
We went through it this year so many times where we were like, bro, why is he so frustrated? He just seems perpetually frustrated. I used the term last year when I was talking about Luka Doncic. Remember, I kept saying, like, this guy, the term I used was perpetually aggrieved. He just looks like he's never happy. And there were whole blocks of this season where we're like, he's never happy.
Yeah.
We never see his teeth. He's just moping. He's standing in the corner playing a thumb war. Like, this is obviously taking, whether it's the shoulder, whether it's I wanted to have the revenge season, but it's kind of been ripped away from me, so all those things are off the table, whether it's the offense, and now I'm not doing a lot of those things that made me, that they gave me so much success in the league. Like, it obviously reached, look, the boiling point was when
he chunked the ball.
He just threw the ball to the other team after Vince Williams didn't cut. Because he was just, it was like so frustrated. And then walked to the bench and then was just like, head down. It's like, this can't be, right? Like, he has to be, like, and part of it was the offensive, part of it was on him, right? Like, you also, if they're going to run this, you still have to be a willing participant, right? Yeah. Like, you can't just stand in the corner. You got to make that cut from the corner, that baseline cut, which he started to do a little bit more. And as he started to get more involved and doing more in that offense, then they started running a bunch more stuff for him, and you starting to see, like, these 20-plus point outputs, and like, we're done with the low shot attempts, low point totals, like, and part of it obviously is Jaren's been out, so you've got to become a lot more John Morant, Desmond Bain centric.
And too, I think we talk about we talk about this a lot. Whether it's like coaches can tell Ja, like, go be Ja, or you can see the fans can say go be Ja. But I think having his peers, whether it's Dez, whether it's anybody else on the team saying, yo, or Anthony Carter, like, he has a voice.
We need you.
Yo, you are you. Go be you. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many times I've seen on the court, and even when he hit the shot, I think the game winner, Dez went up to him and said, yo, I told you.
Yeah.
Go be you, bro.
Yes.
And it's like one of those things that was like encouraging to hear from like like you said, we talk about like
the
your
locker
friends,
room's
your
what
peers.
matters.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. Like coaches can tell me go be me, but when I see somebody who I'm in this wars with every day, it's like, yo, I know what you are, bro. Go be that. And
Well, and the other thing is, he kind of alluded to, at one point during one of those post-game interviews, me and Dez went to coach and said,
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
No more all lives matter offense.
Yeah.
Like, yo.
Or at least simmer it down
Forget
a
all
little
these
bit.
merry-go-round. Yo, we got 12, we got 22. Let's figure this shit out.
Well, I mean, that's been the last 3 to 4 games, the fourth quarters.
Yes. Yeah,
John Dez are taking the shots.
Now, in fairness, the fourth quarter last game was an epic disaster.
Yeah.
We scored 18 points. We scored 18 points, bro.
Against Phoenix?
Yes.
I know New Orleans we did.
Wasn't it? Or New Orleans.
New Orleans we
was
did.
18. That's what I thought.
Right, but Ja led us in shots, and Ja played well in that fourth quarter. Ja had like 11 in the fourth quarter in that one. And he had 10 in the fourth. He's got 3 straight. So he's averaging almost 31 a game in the last 3. The big thing the last 3, his shooting percentage. He's like 51 from the field. Yeah. The 3-point's still not there, but like the field.
If he starts knocking down threes, he's going to be SGA.
Yeah, that's going to get spooky,
Like
bro.
the field goal percentage is what's, starting to go up.
He's starting to be himself again.
I also loved, like...
He's making tons of free throws.
He is.
He made like 40 in a row at one point.
I know.
I think somebody put he had the longest streak of made free throws.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy. Like, even to...
And that's what makes everything so bizarre. It's like his shoulders... The three-point shooting thing is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, you wonder if there's going to be one of these nights where he just goes 6 for 7 and, like, breaks out of it because it's like, bro, you're making every free throw, but we back you up 6 feet and you can't make anything. He's like 5 for 1,000.
But you put him at that free throw line, bro.
And then
It's
he's
money.
auto. That is just very uncommon.
Yeah.
Very uncommon that you would be that proficient from the free throw line and yet not be able to make threes because we're not backing you up that much. And they're open. It's not like he's taking them off the dribble, and it's not like he's stepping back to take them. They are wide open threes when he takes them.
Yeah.
They just don't go in.
I think, too, I like to have, like, the big he's been playing with in these situations.
Yeah.
Like whether it was like been the Bagleys or the J Huffs in the BC. I know Edie set screens, but like having that lane has been good for him too. Like
for sure.
Seeing, like not like when I look
when
behind,
Edie's out there, it's clogged.
When I
bro.
look behind me, bro, it's not a freaking big man. When I look behind me, it's me in the basket.
When Edie's out there, it's clogged.
Yeah,
there's no place to put Edie.
Right there. Yeah, it's another body right there.
Edie's man is always able to be next to the basket.
Yeah. That's why he got to get that. He got to get that spray bottle, bro. He got to get that. You got to get that.
He's got to keep working on that three because he has done a much better job as it feels like it's going on. The offensive rebounds are getting better and better with him.
Oh, yeah,
like he does create second possessions for them, but it's like, dude, you've got to be able to take that three because you see it with Huff. Huff out there,
catch the ball.
Yeah, John Dez just can drive to the lane whenever they want when Huff's out there because they have to honor that 3-point shot.
Yeah. So, anyways, they play again. What are you laughing about?
He needs to catch the ball. He needs to put stickum on his hands.
Oh no,
it's not a huge ask.
The way you said it was funny, bro.
Are NBA players allowed to wear gloves? Like wide receivers are? They can't wear gloves.
That's illegal, bro. You can't be out there with the spat on the hand.
I'm just trying to help our guy.
Like the dude from Little Giants, bro.
Yeah.
Little Giants.
He wore number 88 for Michael Irvin. Yeah.
They're running like this.
Well, that's like the stickum stuff.
All right, we're gonna be having Alan Boston come on with us in a little bit, and there, as I mentioned, it's conference tournament week. If you go to pull up like the college basketball scoreboard today, there are like 1,000 games going on all day, wall to wall, and that's the way it's going to be. This is the best time. It's the way it's going to be today, going to be tomorrow, going to be the next day, and the next day, and the next day, right? There's going to be all of these games going on, these conference tournaments going on. We are going to have to ask him about some of the teams that have already punched their tickets and are going to be auto bids. So just for reference point, on a few things. The first is whenever they announce the bracket on Sunday, these are names you are for sure already going to see because their conference tournaments have already wrapped up and the automatic bids are already sealed. Yesterday, I talked about Drake, and I talked about High Point, who I had seen over the weekend, or maybe that was Monday that I mentioned those. The Atlantic Sun was won by Lipscomb.
Shout out Lipscomb.
They are in the NCAA tournament.
Down the street.
The Big South was won by the way, when I was in college, we used to always, the big rival was Lipscomb, where I went to school, and they had who many people considered at that time, like, I remember he had the biggest basketball camp in the state of Tennessee. Don Meyer was his name. Don Meyer was his name. He had this huge basketball camp in Nashville. And, like, Bobby Knight, I remember, had this quote saying Don Meyer is the best basketball coach that there is, like, living basketball coach that there is. And, like, Pat Summitt would say things about, like, he never wanted to coach, like, a higher division. It was NAIA at the time. Yeah. He left when Lipscomb decided they were going to make athletics a bigger deal.
Wow.
And he ended up, interestingly enough, Buster Olney wrote a book about him.
Yeah.
Wrote a book about Don Meyer. Anyways, when I was in college, Don Meyer was still the coach there, and so it's so crazy for me to see. At that point, they weren't even Lipscomb; they were called David Lipscomb, David Lipscomb University in Nashville. But I went and called those games when we would play against Lipscomb back in the day, and so it's always wild for me to see what that basketball, because they were a amazing NAIA school for many, many, many years when they were David Lipscomb, and now, like, we routinely see them. It's kind of either them or Belmont, right, out of that conference. That they have obviously built a fantastic basketball program at that school in Nashville. Lipscomb's there from the A-Sun. The Big South has got High Point. The CAA has got UNC-Wilmington, so they're going to be there. The Horizon League, I swear this team is there all the time. Bob Morris.
Yeah.
Robert Morris.
Robert Morris.
They won the Horizon. And so they're going to be there. Drake from the Missouri Valley, as we mentioned. We mentioned SIU Edwardsville from the Ohio Valley. They're going to be there. Southern Conference has Wofford. They won.
The dude that used to be
in Memphis.
Yeah,
from Arlington.
Yeah, used to spray that joint.
Yep.
Got his name.
I met him last year. Oddly, he played for the Hustle.
Nathan Hoover.
No, not the Hustle. The Summer League team.
Nathan Hoover.
Remember, we had him on the Summer League team.
Yeah, Big Meech.
Yeah, Nathan Hoover. The Summit League was won by Omaha. We mentioned somewhere in the middle of America. The Sun Belt, Troy.
The Trojans.
Yeah,
Troy.
Man, they put it on Arkansas State in the second half of that game.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, Arkansas State was up at half, and then Troy just beat the hell out of them in the second half. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then last night, West Coast Conference, though St. Mary's had Gonzaga's number all year, it was Gonzaga again. So Gonzaga won that conference. So we got a pretty good amount that have already punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Now, this morning when I came in, Roser was telling me about P.J. Haggerty from the University of Memphis getting named to the second-team All-American list for the Sporting News.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, obviously Mike DeCourcy was a long-time Memphis writer. I'm sure he still has something to do with this at the Sporting News. But the Sporting News has lost intense relevance over the years, right? People don't. That's the first time I can remember you referencing the Sporting News to me in years. Okay? There's no disregard to them. I'm just saying. It used to be one of the biggest. I was like Sports Illustrated, Sporting News, or Street and Smith, right? Like back in print media days, right? Yeah. But I should not. What I'm gonna say here is we should not just disregard this, because what I did not realize until our boy Parth put this up is there are consensus All-Americans that are named at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Well, a consensus All-American means everybody named you that. Okay? The two different writers associations, the NABC and the USBWA, Those are that just means the writers.
Esteemed writers.
Right? Yes.
The writers.
Right. The AP.
Yeah.
And the sporting news. Like, those are the four. The sporting news is a
still
part of
stamped.
that.
It's still stamped.
So if PJ Haggerty was on the second team of the sporting news one, you have an opportunity to become a consensus All-American. You have an opportunity to become a consensus All-American by being named in all of these different things. So one down, right?
Let's go.
On
He
that one.
Joins Eric Dixon from Villanova, Cam Jones from Marquette.
Yeah.
John Tanji from Wisconsin, and JT Toppin from Texas Tech on the second team.
All right, so Memphis has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's been 6 ever.
Like All-Americans or first team?
At the consensus.
Consensus.
Consensus All-Americans.
CDR.
At the University of Memphis. Chris Douglas Roberts did it in 2008.
Penny Hardaway.
Penny Hardaway did it in 92-93.
Keith Lee.
Now check this out. You're gonna love this.
Yeah, I love these stats. These are cool.
Keith Lee did it 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
1983, 1984, and 1985.
Wow.
Okay, now listen to this. I went back and looked these up, okay? So the 82-83 All-American, he was first team, then he was second team, then he was first team.
Yeah.
The first team in 82-83, Keith Lee, Dale Ellis, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Ralph Sampson, Sam Perkins, Wayman Tisdale.
Wow. That's a squad.
Listen to the second team.
Squad.
John Paxson, Clyde Drexler, Darrell Walker, John Sunvold, Sidney Green, Randy Whitman, Steve Stepanopovich. Okay, that's in 82-83. I mean, Clyde Drexler was second team.
Yeah, right.
All right, 83-84. So that's the next year.
Yeah.
So Keith Lee was on the second team that year. The first team, which he did not make, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, Sam Perkins, and Wayman Tisdale.
Wow.
Second team with Keith Lee included guys you would have heard of: Michael Cage, Chris Mullen.
Michael Cage used to call Grizzlies games.
Michael Cage calls Thunder games.
He calls Thunder games now. Yeah.
And then 84-85, Keith Lee. So no disregard for making the second team in 83-84.
Right.
That is absurd. 84-85, he made the first team again. Johnny Dawkins, Chris Mullen, Keith Lee, Patrick Ewing, Wayman Tisdale, Xavier McDaniel.
Okay,
X-Man.
And then on the second team, amazing. Pearl Washington, Mark Price, Len Bias, Kenny Walker, John Koncak.
John Koncak
from SMU.
John Koncak.
How about that? So anyways, 3-time consensus All-American Keith Lee.
Okay, so we got
that's crazy.
We got CDR, Penny, Keith Lee, Larry Finch.
Larry Finch is 72-73. He made second team because the first team included David Thompson, Bill Walton, Doug Collins, Ernie DiGregorio, and Jamal Wilkes.
Larry Keenan.
Yeah, I said Larry Keenan. Did Larry Keenan make fun?
Larry Keenan did not make consensus All-American.
So we need one more.
No, you have.
we got them all.
You've gotten Lee, CDR, Finch, and Penny. You have 2 more. I said 6.
Tyreek Evans.
Nope.
Bedford never made it, right?
Nope. These are guys listed as consensus All-Americans.
DeJuan Wagner didn't make All-American. DeJuan Wagner wasn't an All-American.
These are all old dudes, I'm guessing.
Because the whole point of this is PJ Haggerty, if he was named in the sporting news, you
Andre
at least
Turner?
have a crack at becoming a consensus All-American, and Memphis has had 6.
Lorenzen
Wright, 95-96.
Shout out Big Ren.
Was in the 95-96 NCAA season. The first team was, check this out. I'm going to love this.
Oh, 95-96, that's got to be an insane year. Vince Carter, Anton Jamison.
No. These are consensus All-Americans.
Oh, Jameson would have been later. Yeah.
Allen Iverson.
Iverson.
Kerry Kittles. Marcus Camby. Ray Allen. Tim Duncan. Tony Delk.
Golly.
Wow.
Listen to the second team. Danny Fortson, who was unbelievable at Cincinnati.
Yes, he was.
Danny Fortson, Jacques Vaughn.
Yeah.
John Wallace at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Keith Van Horn at Utah. Lorenzen Wright at Memphis.
Damn right.
Lorenzen Wright made it in 95, 96. So you have Keith Lee, Chris Douglas Roberts. By the way, let me give you Chris Douglas Roberts. I'm going to give you his team. Chris Douglas Roberts was first team in 07-08 with DJ Augustine, Kevin Love, Michael Beasley, and Tyler Hansborough.
Sheesh.
The second team was Chris Lofton, DJ White at Indiana, Luke Herringody,
Notre Dame,
Roy Hibbert, Shane Foster at Vandy, and Steph Curry at Davidson. Steph Curry was second team All-American. Wow. Consensus, All-American. Okay? So you have Keith Lee, CDR, Larry Finch, Penny Hardaway, Lorenzen Wright. You are missing one, and I will tell you.
Will Barton.
It was not Will Barton.
It was not Will.
Thorough.
I thought Will might have made it his sophomore year.
Sneak on there, maybe.
His sophomore year, Will was really, really good. His sophomore year, he was awesome.
Because I don't think Chuck never
Andre
made it.
Turner?
Little General?
Not Andre Turner.
Cedric Henderson wasn't All-American.
Chuck never made it, right?
I don't think it was Cedric Henderson. Did Elliot Perry make All-American?
Not consensus All-American.
Chris Garner wasn't. Cedric Henderson wasn't. Kelly Wise didn't.
D-Rose didn't.
All right, I'm going to get...
Derrick Rose didn't make All-American.
No. I'm going to give you a hint.
If it's Sean Banks... he was he was National Freshman of the Year.
Sean Williams or somebody.
I will tell you, this is crazy.
Sean Williams, not a bad one.
Okay.
Rodney Carney.
2006.
Rodney Carney.
Rodney Carney was an All-American?
Rodney Carney was awesome, yes. That 2006 year, that is the year we had Sean Williams. We lost to UCLA. We had to play UCLA. We were the 1 seed. We had to play them in California in the Elite Eight. Rodney Carney was the best player on that team. He was a senior that year.
Listen to this. Rodney Carney was second team consensus All-American.
Yeah.
Listen to this. First team that year.
Yeah.
Adam Morrison, Brandon Roy, J.J. Redick, now coach of the Lakers.
Wow.
Randy Foy.
Villanova legend.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Sheldon Williams.
Candace Parker. He the one that flipped her.
Second team. Alan Ray at Villanova.
That Villanova team.
One of my favorite college players. D. Brown at Illinois.
With the Darren Williams,
Yes.
Luther
Head, yeah.
That team was so cool.
So cold, bro.
They were cool.
And they lost
Big
to that
shorts.
They
Shout
lost to
out to
that Carolina team was cool too that they lost to.
Alan Ray, D. Brown, Leon Poe at Cal.
Former Grizzly Leon Poe.
Ready for this one? PJ Tucker at Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
He still who just picked him up?
Signed with the not Clippers, was it?
The Knicks.
The Knicks, that's right.
Knicks,
Yeah, the Knicks.
He's the new
Taj Gibson for Tibbs. Yeah, he is.
Call that man
Also on the second team consensus in 05-06, Rudy Gay.
Yeah.
UConn, turn up.
And Tyler Hansborough.
I remember one of those UConn teams.
Psycho Chief.
And Rodney Carney.
Rodney Carney.
There have been 6 consensus All-Americans in Memphis basketball history.
You know, it would have been another one I would have guessed. I would have guessed next if it would have Carney. I was going to guess Chris Massey. I remember Massey's last year. He was awesome. The year we lost to Ike Diagu in Arizona State in the tournament.
I mean, that
in the first round.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, look, Finch, Keith Lee, Penny, Lorenzen, Rodney Carney, CDR.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think Rodney Carney's the most underrated Memphis player ever.
He might be the most
No
underrated.
one would ever get that.
And he was like
Rodney Carney was the hooping on long
And it's
socks.
crazy. He was like a 3-star recruit, like a 2-3-star recruit.
Nobody would ever, honestly, until I looked it up. So when you mentioned that Haggerty made Sporting News, and then I saw that like that actually matters.
Yeah, Sporting News
because
matters.
it's part of being a consensus All-American. So then I typed in, I'm like, Memphis consensus All-Americans. And of course, I remember right? Like none of those other names surprise you. None of them,
No.
right? Like these are all, when we talk about like legends of Memphis basketball, it's Larry Finch, it's Anthony Hardaway, it's Lorenzen Wright, it's Keith Lee, it's CDR. I mean, Rodney Carney being the sixth guy on that list is wild to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like people don't walk around talking about a consensus All-American.
He might be the most underrated Tiger ever. He might be.
Gotta be. He's gotta be.
He might be, bro. Because
Jalen just said in my headset he's my favorite Tiger ever, and yet he didn't guess him. He didn't guess. So, dude, I have somebody in my headset telling me that's his favorite Tiger ever, and he didn't even know he was a consensus All-American. You can't get more underrated than your favorite, than your biggest fan not knowing your greatest accomplishment.
He's the Keenan Allen of the Memphis Tigers.
Crazy, right?
Shout out Rodney Carney, man.
His brother, hang on, so I'm looking at this. His mom was a world-class sprinter.
Yes, I do know that.
Okay, and she was going to compete in the 1980 Summer Olympics, except for there was a United States boycott. Dude, it says his brother is Ron Slay.
What,
from Tennessee?
That's what his Wikipedia page says. Says his brother, Ron Slay, was a basketball star at the University of Tennessee. Ron Slay does like radio in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the afternoons.
I didn't know it was his brother.
Rodney Carney was first in Conference USA in scoring in 04, 05, and 05, 06.
Yeah.
He scored the most points. He led the conference in three-point percentage in 05, 06. He shot 39% from. He also led both years in field goal attempts. He led in field goals. He led in three-point field goals. Kind of crazy, right?
And I believe there was one night when he signed a couple of 10 days with the Grizzlies. It was one night. He actually, I remember it. I think we were playing the Warriors. When he got up off the bench at the end of the game, we were beating the crap out of, I think, the Warriors. When he got up off the end of the bench of that game and got in the game, like, dude, the ovation was crazy in the arena. Because the Tigers at the time were the biggest thing in the city.
He played 133 games with Memphis.
Yeah.
Dang.
And won 100. And 101. 101. Played 133 games with Memphis and was a second-team consensus All-American. I will tell you one of the craziest things with doing this research project today and finding out about these guys, because I was doing it all in honor of the Haggerty and like, wow, this would be cool. What if he did add his name to this list? This is an all-timer list. So when I was clicking through all of it, and obviously I went to that 72-73 team with Larry Finch, who was second-team All-American, and that first team, as I mentioned, had Bill Walton and David Thompson and Doug Collins and all those guys on it, right? So anyways, I clicked on that 72-73 team. That's the original Final Four team that Memphis had, right? When they made it to the Final Four, and then Bill Walton had the greatest college basketball game ever, right? Missed one shot, the game that was played in St. Louis. People still talk about this. One of the things, and this is where, you know, I miss guys like my guy, George Lapidus or Jack Eaton back in the day. I used to always hear about this kind of stuff because, and there's a lot of old school Tiger fans that still have a reference point for 72-73 or even remember it, or you could still run into people that were at that game or that maybe they were young and now they're in there, right? Now they're old, right? But they remember going to that game when they were a kid, but like, because you got to be old if you went to the 72, or you remember the 72-73 season. Anyways, I clicked on it just to like look at it, like what the record was and what their polling was and what Larry Finch averaged and all this kind of stuff. Because I knew when the Grizzlies first moved here, Bartow was Gene Bartow. He was a big ambassador for the Memphis Grizzlies. They had brought him on. Everybody loved Gene Bartow. I mean, one of the great men I've come across, right? I used to love him. I can't remember what the name of the little place is. Like, it's back in the cut. Like, if you were on the other side of AutoZone, if you walk down one street and there's like an old restaurant there that like serves breakfast.
That little tea shop or whatever.
Is it?
No, it wasn't CK. I can't remember what it was. Anyways, Bartow used to go there for breakfast all the time, and I joined him there a couple different times. I loved Gene Bartow. God rest his soul. Anyways, he was the coach there, the Larry Finch, Keenan, those guys that you've talked about. And we hear so many times about the lore of that 72-73 team and how much they changed the city and how those guys were like true legends, right? And they've been legends forever. I clicked on their like season, and we lament so much like the conference now and whatever else. I have heard so much about, 72-73, the Final Four, going to the Final Four, Gene Bartow, Larry Finch, Larry Keenan, the Bill Walton greatest game ever, whatever. But one of the things I had no awareness of was their conference, or what it was like back then. It was the Missouri Valley.
Yeah.
These were the teams that was in Memphis's conference. Think about that. We talk about conference now and how many different teams we've been in conferences with just in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
The conference was Memphis, Louisville, St. Louis, Tulsa, New Mexico, Wichita State, Drake, Bradley, North Texas, and West Texas A&M.
What the hell? We playing basketball again?
That is the craziest conference.
That was our conference?
Yes.
That's better than what we're in now.
I know, right?
I would gladly
what
take that.
What a crazy conference, though, right?
Yeah.
Bradley, bro.
I know. You think about how much we lament, God, I wish it was just the way it used to be, right?
Yeah.
I wish it was just the way it used to be. I wish we could go back to the way it used to be. Hell, I'd even take the old, Conference USA. But, think about this. This is when Memphis, when Rodney Carney was a consensus All-American.
Yeah.
It was Memphis. This is Conference USA. Memphis, UAB, UTEP, Houston, Central Florida, Tulsa, Rice, Tulane, Marshall, SMU, Southern Miss, and East Carolina.
Okay, that's pretty nasty.
That
too.
was Conference
That's
USA.
pretty nasty.
That because Houston was not good back then.
UAB was the only other
They
tournament
used to have
team.
five people at the games at Houston back then.
Yeah.
Southern Miss was, we had smoke.
By the
with
way,
them.
we went 13-1 in conference that year that Rodney Carney was a consensus All-American.
Yeah.
13-1 in Conference USA. UAB made the NCAA tournament, and they were 12-2 in the conference. That was one of the Mike Anderson years. And, that was one of the Mike Anderson years. And, that's a player. I remember Wen Makubu.
Yeah.
Paul
Makubu,
Delaney.
yeah.
Those guys, that Lawrence Kennard, who was from Memphis, he was on that team. There's a bunch of guys. But anyways, back then it was kind of Memphis and UAB were the only two, good teams.
Jalen, play the little Rodney Carney mix I just sent you, bro.
Oh, there's a Memphis?
Yeah.
Is there we have a Memphis Rodney Carney? You want to talk about a trivia question,
this
bro?
This is a dunk on D-Wade.
This is in this one he was playing for the Sixers.
Yeah, I sent you another mix of him as a Tiger. Bro, that's crazy. On D-Wade's head.
I used to always say, Roser always said, what did I always say about Rodney Carney?
Drives the lane like he's Pegasus.
Yeah. Rodney Carney flies through the lane like he's Pegasus. That's what he used to, that's what
Pete Gillen
used to say.
Really? Yeah. With the long socks. I played the mix.
He did wear the long socks, yeah.
Yeah, he wore everybody knew him as the long socks.
I don't think anyone, and we're all hardcore Memphis guys. Yeah. No one would know that.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I guessed
it took you 30 minutes, and you guessed a bunch of people.
Look at that boy Rodney Carney, boy.
And you guessed a bunch of people. Where is he now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somebody got to find Rodney Carney, bro. Hold on, where the highlight at? If I'm going to run the highlight. Hold on, look at that boy. Somebody got to find Rodney Carney, man.
Is he still around?
Around Memphis? You think he'd been at a game by now, right? Look at that boy. Look at him. Yeah, bro. He used to fly, man.
That's crazy.
He used to fly to the rack, bro.
Second team consensus All-American. So if PJ Haggerty could pull this off, he goes into a very, very elite class.
They say he playing in the Big Three.
He played in the Big Three?
Yeah, that's what Luke just texted me and said he's playing in the Big Three.
I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a quick break because Alan Boston is going to join us. Chris Vernon Show.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with two big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage, total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
A three, it's through for Desmond Bain. FBK, fly by King. Wheels through the lane, now spins back. Ja hangs, puts it in! Oh, what a shot by Morant in the clutch. So hot. Oh, Jerry said no!
Because he doesn't put on the play, comes up with a monster block.
Welcome back to the Chris Vernon Show on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, back to your host, Chris Vernon.
Just be cool. Throwing dead presidents. Look alive. Party is the evidence. It's a vibe. Celebrating excellence. We survive. Two-seater snapping, girl. I'm happy it's just you and I. Throwing dead presidents. Look alive.
All right, we're back. Chris Vernon Show. And all these conference tournaments are going on throughout college basketball. And we got to learn about some of these teams, especially as many are already punching their tickets to the NCAA tournament. And to do that, we talked to our favorite college basketball wise guy. He has been featured in the movie The Best of It. He has been featured in the book The Odds. Lifelong college basketball wise guy, Alan Boston. Alan!
Hello.
All right, let's start today by me asking you. I'm going to give you all these teams that have already punched their tickets to the NCAA tournament and tell us if they're ones that we need to look at seriously whenever the bracket is announced on Sunday. All right?
Okay.
All right, Atlantic Sun, Lipscomb.
Okay, so just as a quick introduction to the yes-nos that I have on these things, most of these teams that are in are hampered by the new rules and the new approach to basketball. So NIL money and it has just given these mid-majors virtually no chance to develop programs or hold on to players. So most of these schools are well coached and got the most bang out of their buck, but they don't have enough bucks for the bang, so they're really in over their heads. Lipscomb had a tremendous year, coached by Lenny Acuff, a monster in the D2 ranks. Interestingly, all these almost to a T, every D2 coach that's been hired D1 has been fantastic, which I guess the cliche, if you're a winner, you're a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of holds true. If you're winning at high school, you probably can win almost anywhere, although that's a little bit of a stretch. But certainly these D2 guys and these JUCO coaches have been just a revelation, and Lenny Acuff's another one of them. Wildly respected by his peers. Lipscomb, small school in Nashville, you'd be more familiar than me. But, had a home run year, very, very good, very, very smart, but talent-wise, they're in over their heads, which will be a common theme for many of the schools we talk about. They are better than most of the mid-majors, but not good enough to offer more than a bit of a threat maybe in the first round.
Big South is High Point.
Well, now we're talking about one that can do more than a threat. I don't know where this Alan Huss guy came from. He played for Dana Altman, which is a good thing. And he assisted under Greg McDermott, which is also a good thing. But High Point was a nothing program for years. And they had a good coach there for a while, and then they hired Gigi Smith, which was not a good hire. But this guy is just taking this team to heights that are just crazy. For instance, they'd be favored over Big Ten teams on a neutral court. So clearly, this is High Point University.
Well, and Alan, I mentioned them earlier this week because I used to think, as you have talked about, it used to be, and they seem to be different than some of their peers in that you would always think that they recruit these guys that were maybe under the radar, but then they've played together a lot. They've got 120 games under their belt as a unit, and so that's kind of the advantage they have when they get to the tournament. But then I looked up their roster, and I'm like, bro, it's like Kansas, Mississippi State. It's all these big schools that these kids all played for that it feels like they got a bunch of bench players from these big schools, and so people look at them and they go, "It's High Point," but really it's like Kansas and Mississippi State and Texas Tech and Minnesota and UTEP, and that's their roster is a bunch of these guys that maybe weren't getting their chances at bigger schools, so their talent level is not what you would typically find at a High Point.
That is correct, and they're one of the few schools that have 4 starters back from last year. They held on to 2 of their good freshmen who became sophomores. They have this fantastic rim protector, Otto or something like that. Just a freak, just tremendous player. And I talked about this the last time I was on. Rim protection is probably the number one thing in college basketball. It's when your rim protector goes down and you have no backup, you're screwed. I used to think point guard, but it turns out that after looking at injuries a little bit more, the starting centers of the rim protectors, especially in the modern game, where you're playing a lot of 4-out stuff, and you're guarding that, you need someone to allow the guards to gamble out there a little bit. Anyway, it's massively important on both ends of the spectrum, especially on the defense. And they have a very good rim protector. They have a very good point guard. I think I'm not good with names. Bobby Petterford, maybe.
Yeah.
And they have this ex-4-star recruit from somewhere. You're right. They have some high-level talent.
Yeah. They got some big-time players.
Oftentimes, right, the underused 4-star recruits, they were 4-star recruits for a reason. They're top 150 or top 100, whatever the hell that is, out of thousands and thousands of players. So clearly they have ability. And oftentimes when they're not under the pressure of playing for a Kansas or a Miss State, and they have a good coach, which clearly this guy is, Alan Huss, they shine. And this team is definitely a threat to
All right, so we're marking down High Point as a dangerous one whenever we see them. Huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're marking them as dangerous. UNC
they're not like Florida Atlantic of last year, who could win the whole thing, which I mentioned, but they are definitely, like I said, they're favored over Northwestern, Minnesota, a small dog to Indiana. They have a very, very good power rating.
UNC-Wilmington.
Yeah, another good coach, Takayo Siddle. I'm not sure what his history is, but coaching is very important to me. I guess I think he actually penned under Rick Scruggs at Gardner-Webb, who was a longtime coach there and well regarded also. He assisted under Kevin Keatts, which I won't comment on, but he's done a fantastic job there. He plays kind of this Keatts-like helter-skelter game, or what Keatts wants to do, which he hasn't been very successful with. Although he made the Final Four last year and got fired this year, which is a little bit much, but that's the world we live in. No, Siddle's team got a lot better this year. He lost most of his team. He had a very good team last year, lost most of the players, but I think he had one starter back. But again, they got better and better as the year went on, and kind of got a favorable draw through the tournament, and won the pick'em game against Charleston, and here they are. They're a 3.5, 4-point dog to High Point, so they're not quite in High Point's league, but their style is unique and maybe a little difficult to prepare for. So maybe they could cause some trouble. Not likely to win a first round game, but could cause some trouble.
All right. Let's see. Next one, Robert Morris.
So sometimes schools get rewarded for sticking with a guy. Robert Morris has been probably the #1 school in having players poached, and even in the now current poaching era. By the way, a little story, if you don't mind. Frank Martin at UMass talked in his interview, because they put a real stinker in on their last home game, which is kind of unusual. And he said, I have no answer, but I will tell you that a friend, coach, who coaches a big winning team, had a player come up to him. Now, the season's not over yet. Had a player come up to him and said, by the way, I've already signed a contract for next year for this amount of money, and I'm leaving. So, right, here's a team that I think they're probably in the NCAA tournament. He didn't want to give names, obviously, but this is what some of these guys are up against. Where where kids just mail it in. They got 500,000 coming next year, whatever it is, and screw it, I'm done. See ya.
Yeah, there's got to be a solution for this. I mean, look, now that they're letting it do it, they're gonna have to have contracts. That's the only way. That's the only.
Yeah,
way.
I agree. I think contracts are it, and not 1-year contracts either.
That's right.
Like if you don't stay, screw you. You don't get your money.
That's right.
Something like that. But that's just, I thought that was an interesting thing, because I knew it was bad, but I didn't think it was that bad where they signed players before the season's even over. Like that's crazy. That's completely crazy. Anyway,
Penny Hardaway has already put out on his coach's show that teams like the big schools have they're trying to actively recruit PJ Haggerty away from Memphis, and the price is going to be over $2 million.
I mean, how do you deal with that?
How do you deal with that? It's like, bro, our conference tournament isn't even going on.
Yeah, that's really disgusting and
it's disgusting.
Sad.
Sucks.
And, but they created the monster they have, and
that's right.
This is what they wanted. They're all greedy and
yeah.
And I don't know what to think they're doing. I mean, some of these kids are probably in for some therapy later in life. I think I might have mentioned like these lottery winners who end up going broke, the suicide
That's
rate
right.
is, yeah. And now you're dealing with 18-year-old kids, not grown men or women who struck it rich and then did something foolish.
Right.
It's really a sad dynamic. What school we're on? I'm sorry, we're on.
Yeah. Go back to Rob Morris.
So Andrew Toole, UPenn grad. Shout out to UPenn, my alma mater. He transferred to Penn. He played on some NCAA teams, and he's absolutely brilliant. And he's overcome injuries and incessant poaching. Like from day one, I recall about 12, 13 years ago, he had a team 3 years later that if he hadn't lost like his best player every year to a bigger school, they would have been top 25 in the country. Like he had just insane talent, but year after year, he lost his best player. He did have a great moment, which was a big win for me. In the NIT, they hosted John Calipari.
Right, I remember that.
If Andrew Toole was against John Calipari, I don't care what the line is, I'm betting it.
Well, and I think they said when they won this Horizon or whatever it was again, I think they said it's their 9th NCAA tournament. That's a lot. I mean, this has been a good program.
It's okay, but it's mostly back in the old days, which
Yeah.
Get to with another Pennsylvania school. But he is a fantastic coach, and I'm surprised he's been there like 15 years. I'm surprised he lasted that long. They have not had good records there. They've moved up in conference, I think, twice now. So this team was not supposed to be that good, but this year he didn't have injuries, and was able to mold the team, and he got fortunate against Oakland, who pissed away another game, and here they are, and good for him. And they're not good enough to do much damage, but he is one brilliant basketball mind, and they could really make things rough in the first half for a team. I guarantee he comes out with something very, very cool or very interesting or very difficult to deal with. But the 30-second shot clock, like back when I started, the 45-second shot clock allowed some of these underdogs to hang in there and even win games. But the NCAA said we can't have that. We have to have the money go to the right places. So we'll keep shortening the shot clock and try to amp up the scoring. Of course, none of that works, and it ruins the spirit of the game, which has long since passed. And I doubt you'll be hearing the word student athlete during the NCAA tournament this year.
The next team I'm going to ask you about is, in our opinion, the best story by far in all of college basketball, and that is the team that was called D2 Drake, because they hired a D2 coach who brought his D2 team to Drake and then got a JUCO kid and then got a couple freshmen. And those are the guys that actually play. And so answered the age-old question, what would happen if an amazing D2 team played a D1 schedule? Well, the answer was they were 30-3 this year and then won by double digits in their Missouri Valley Conference championship over Bradley. And so now Drake is going to be on somebody's line come Selection Sunday. I know the record is great. I know it's a great story. Do you think they are a super dangerous NCAA tournament team?
Yes. I watched them several times this year. This guy is brilliant. Another D2 guy, by the way, that moved up that I mentioned earlier. And he also had 4 freshmen stay there. Not all stayed there. I think a couple might have moved in, but he has 4 guys going from freshman to sophomore, which is with a good coach can be very, very good. That's usually the biggest bump that a player makes is freshman to sophomore. They get acclimated and more comfortable, and then their talent shines. And if the coach can iron out some of their holes early on, they become real deal players. So he brought all those guys over and had 4 freshmen to sophomore, and a good D2 school should not be as good as Drake was. Clearly, there's other players there that are real good, because good D2 schools are pick them with I don't know, that Rice would be favorable. So there you go. That's what I'm familiar with. But this team is really good. I watched them play Kansas State, and even though the game went to overtime, they actually kind of dominated the game. And that's a Big 12, not upper level Big 12, but still legit power school. And here they are, toying with them. Yes, they are dangerous. They're definitely a first-round danger. The guy is brilliant and can play fast, slow. His half-court defense is fantastic. His offense is brilliant. It's fun to watch, actually. And, they won't be giving anything away, and they are definitely a dangerous first-rounder for a team that is not prepared.
These are the ones why you're the greatest, Alan, because I don't think I can have another guest on earth that I could ask about, hey, Alan, what do you think about St. Francis?
And you get an answer. Another good story. So like the Andrew Toole thing, that's what I was referencing. St. Francis once had a great tradition in basketball, but that was back in the 60s and 70s. I think Norm Van Leer went there, who was a really good player from my days. With the Bulls, I think. They had a couple actually very good players, but that's 50, 60 years ago. Rob Krimmel, the coach there, he's a lifer at St. Francis, played there, assisted there, coached there for almost 30 years now. And he was probably a goner if they didn't win this year. They really haven't had a good record in quite some time. And I watched some of that game. It was just a defensive clinic. He has zero talent. And, well, it's the truth. That's the root of the problem is how is St. Francis going to hold on to anyone that's decent,
right?
When they're offered more money, even like they'd go to Duquesne, if they want to stay in their home area and play for a better program because they'll make $150,000 instead of 10,
right,
or whatever it is. It's a real.
You just got no chance.
It's a disaster in my opinion.
Yeah.
So good for him that he made it after all these years, and he comes across as a very genuine human and a class act, listening to some of his press conferences. And they really put on a clinic last night, beating another good story. Phil Sellers did an amazing job at Central Connecticut State. They had some big wins this year, I think they might have won in St. Joe's, or they took them to the wire, and Providence, they took them to the wire. They had a very, very good start to the year. Not a tradition-laden program. They had some success under Howie Dickerman years ago, who was a local legend, but a shocking win for St. Francis, who lost their point guard after Game 5, I believe, this year. And
it's unbelievable.
What?
A savant. You know, St. Francis lost their point guard after the 5th game of the season. Like, how?
I do it for a living.
I know you do it for a living, but it's still impressive. Like, that's.
You could have said the 15th game, and we wouldn't know.
Dude, you could have lied about any of this, and we wouldn't be able to check you on it.
I don't know. I had a note on it, and I was looking at the game the other night and trying to evaluate if maybe they could have gotten better, and maybe.
All right, so St. Francis is dead in the water. Like, cool story. Not a team that we need to look at as a threat.
They're really they probably wouldn't win a game in the Ivy League. Like, they're really not good. They played their asses off last night. That was some effort.
All right, SIU Edwardsville.
It's a good story. Which is part of the charm of this.
Yeah. I got it. SIU Edwardsville.
That's Brian Baroni, right? Tony Baroni. You guys might be familiar with Tony Baroni. He was in that area, I think.
I was big buddies with Tony Baroni Jr., who's his son. He was in our scouting department. Is it his brother?
Tony Baroni, no, I assume so, because Tony Baroni was his dad.
I'll be damned.
Tony Baroni had those sideline antics. I don't know if you remember him. I'm old, but he
I was friends with Tony Baroni.
Yeah, he was great.
He worked in the office with us. He was a Grizzly scouting director.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And his son worked in the scouting office as well. That is crazy.
Brian's done a great job. And I'm not surprised. Like, Tony was a good coach. And Edwardsville, again, out of nowhere, I think they were D2 about, I don't remember when they shifted to D1, quite some time ago now.
Yeah,
but
Tony passed away, like, I think in 2019, 6 years ago.
It's been a bit.
He passed away 6 years ago, but yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Young.
I'll be damned.
They're not great, but great job by this kid to elevate a program that was never really that good. So
that's cool.
That's the common theme is these teams just don't have the talent. They have the coaching for the part. They just don't have the talent.
All right, how about Wofford? They have in the past been a dangerous team.
Yeah, that was under Mike Young. But again, see, Mike Young had those guys for 3-4 years when they had the home run year, when they were like pick them with, like Seton Hall in the first round. I think they beat Seton Hall in the first round. They lost to Kentucky maybe in the second round. And that was Mike Young. This is Dwight Perry, who I'm not a big fan of, but they got very fortunate. They got a really good draw through the Southern Conference. All the tougher teams lined up on the other side, and they caught a worn-out Furman team in the final to they'd have no chance to beat Furman, I don't think, if things were out of square. But Furman had played 2 bloodbaths in a row and just didn't have the energy to finish it. Wofford's not very good, and I don't expect them to pose much of a threat to anybody.
Omaha. Now, there's a new one for everybody. When they see Omaha, they're going to be like, who? I didn't even heard of Omaha.
I'll tell you, this Chris Crutchfield's their coach. He's been there 3 years. I don't know much about him, but Omaha has been nothing in basketball for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, I've never even heard of him. I didn't even know there was a school.
He has roots to Lon Kruger and Eric Musselman, and Dana Altman. So again, it's Altman, and he's done an amazing job. Like this came out of nowhere. This team just flourished. I have no rhyme or reason for why. It's his 3rd year there, and all of a sudden, boom.
Summit League, huh? Yeah.
Usually South Dakota State dominates.
Yeah.
Interestingly, they were in an interesting situation in the final because win or lose, they were in.
Oh, right, because of the team that couldn't get there or whatever?
Right, the retarded 4-year waiting period, which is completely ridiculous. Like, either you're going to play or you're not. Like, yeah, I'm going to recruit you to play here, but we can't make the tournament.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, just another rule that needs to be changed. Just what's the point of the 4-year waiting period? Like,
well, and I was telling them this story because I read about it the other day, that team, that it didn't matter whether they won or lost. Omaha was already going to go because they had made the final and the other team wasn't eligible. But that the other team won so much in Division III that they kicked them out. It said
the other team, St. Thomas. Yeah, they went D3 to D1.
Yeah, St. Thomas. That's what it was. Yeah, D3, and they kicked them out of D3 because they won too much.
Johnny Towers, their coach, he's absolutely brilliant. They run maybe top 2-3 offenses in the country.
That's crazy.
Serious. Another D3, D2 guy. This guy's a genius. It's apparently a very well-funded school up there. But to go from D3 to D1 and to play a conference tournament final within years,
crazy.
It's nuts. It's nuts. I mean, he won with D3 players at the D1 level. There's a big difference between D3 and D2. Like,
yes,
good, decent high school players go D3.
Yes.
Superstar high school players can be D2. But
yes,
it's nuts. This guy is a wizard. You watch for them next year. If he can hold on to players, forget it. Because, like I've talked about, these coaches often need to get these players used to some very intricate system and iron out some of their holes, and then they have them 2 or 3 years, and you get the Wofford story of several years ago.
Well, Omaha, either way, Omaha did beat them in the final, that team that we were talking about, St. Thomas.
Yeah, it was a very impressive win. One of my rare winners last week.
So is Omaha dangerous or no?
No, they're not good. They're not good enough. But a great story. It's a common theme. Most of these mid-majors have no chance.
How about Troy from the Sun Belt?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Another genius. This guy probably was the worst firing of all time. He was at Texas Arlington. He had elevated the program to some ridiculous heights. Like they beat like St. Mary's one year and Ohio State on the road, and they might have beaten Memphis actually back in his day. It's in my head that they did, so it might be true. My memory isn't what it once was, but it's still there with most of this stuff. Yeah, no, he is absolutely brilliant. Like he had some record-breaking power rating team, and I know because I do the power ratings.
Right.
And some AD came in there, and we're going to be the Gonzaga of the South. Well,
how's that turned out? Right. Yeah.
Didn't work out very good for Texas Arlington, and he immediately got scooped up by whatchamacallit, the Pitt guy as a TCU. My mind is gone.
Oh, Jamie Dixon.
Jamie Dixon, right. He scooped him up as an assistant immediately, and then Troy hired him, and he is amazing. Amazing coach, and definitely a threat to win a game in the first round.
All right, so it sounds like from all these schools that we talked about, High Point and Troy are the ones we should circle and say, oh, some big-time school better be careful if they're having to play those.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
High Point and Troy. And then, obviously, the other one that's already punched their ticket was Gonzaga last night, who finally got over the hump against St. Mary's. This has not been a vintage Gonzaga year, and yet always dangerous. They're probably going to have a lower seed than they've had in forever.
Yeah,
right?
They'll probably screw them and give them some 7 or 8 seeds, so they have to play a 1 seed in the next round, and the 1 seed will probably be someone else they don't like, maybe Auburn or You know, I still contest that it's very, very shady, the seedings and pairings. I've said that for years, and I hope I'm proven false, but I don't think I am. Gonzaga's really good. Like, anyone that thinks they're having some down year because they lost some games, they're just wrong. This is a very, very good team, probably 5th in the country by my power ratings.
Oh, wow.
Right, so they'd be a 2 seed by my ratings, which is, by the way, one of the inherent flaws of the tournament. Like, they don't get the genuine power rating of a team, the genuine ranking of a team. They go off all this BS that means nothing, which just helps the teams they want in. Like, they change the rules all the time to whatever. The whole thing's just ridiculous. Like, if you want to know how to solve addiction, you should go to an addict, right, and ask him what to do. If you want to know how good a basketball team is, ask a guy who earns his living on it. But they would never do that. It's.
Oh no, we're sweating it out here because we know. Look, the last couple of times they've given Memphis, they put us on the 8-9 line, and we're terrified it's going to happen again.
Yeah, that would be really unfortunate, unlucky. Right? They don't like Memphis. Memphis has gotten screwed virtually every year in a tournament.
Yeah.
Hard. They didn't like Calipari because he actually is honest and speaks his mind.
I think we're hopeful we could get a 6 or a 7, and scared that they're gonna put us at an 8 or a 9, and then have us have to play Auburn or Duke or one of these teams in the second round, just like how they, 2 years ago we had to. Actually, 2 years ago we were supposed to play Purdue, but they got beat by Fairleigh Dickinson, and then we lost at the buzzer to that Florida Atlantic team that made it to the Final Four. The year before, we also had a really good team. Won in the first round, but then had to play Gonzaga, who was like, that was the Drew Timme, like, unbelievable Gonzaga team, right? So
had a team that year. That was a terrible season. They have terrible draws every year.
We get bad draws, bro.
We talked about it 2 years ago how Florida Atlantic was like the most ruthless draw imaginable. Like,
yeah, I know. And now, like, hopefully we're gonna be a little nervous on Sunday. Hopefully they can.
Like I've commented the last time I was on that, I think your team is underrated, and I'm going to throw this out there. They won in Clemson. That's something Duke did not do. So that succinct little sentence there about sums it up.
Yeah.
Like, I watched this team play. They could be very, very good. They can also be very bad. But
yeah,
if they play with some sanity,
they're one of those teams that they play to their level of competition. If the other team's awesome, they'll be awesome. If the other team's crap, they'll play crap.
They can shoot. Very good in that Hawaii tournament early in the year. And even that game against Auburn, like, Auburn came out and hit like 7 shots in a row.
The friggin' Janai Broom had like 30 and 20 at halftime.
Yeah, but I think the shots went great. They just all went in. And
they all went in.
But their wins, look at how good Missouri is. Like,
yeah.
Beat them the first game, and UNLV is good, and Ohio, and winning in San Fran and Connecticut and Michigan State.
Their conference gets no respect. I mean, like, their conference just kills them.
If they lose in the conference tournament, they're going to be on that 8-9 line. They have to win the conference tournament. If they don't, they're going to be on the 8-9 line. The best thing with Penny's team is that they can shoot this year. This is by far the best shooting team he's had. They're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country.
Yeah.
That's obviously, massively important in today's 3-point shooting barrage. Or they could just screw them. They could just screw them and give them like a 10 seed and have Blake Gonzaga or a 7 seed or something.
Yeah.
They'll find ways to make it like make their life miserable, which is, let's hope not. I mean, I'm going down there.
Maybe we'll get a good draw. All right, Alan, last thing before I get you out of here. Anything you're doing big on conference tournament? How heavy do you go on conference tournaments, or do you? I mean, obviously it's neutrals in virtually every case, right? You're playing on neutrals. I know your feelings on conference tournaments and whether or not it's good or bad for these teams to actually have home run efforts and win these conference tournaments. But are you going to be heavy on any of them? Is there anything you've? There's like 50 games today. Like,
yeah,
how many games will you bet today?
Oh, I bet about maybe 12 to 15.
Oh, wow.
But I went big on 3 of them. One of them, the line moved. But I do like El Paso quite a bit. I took 7.5 for the record.
Who were the 3 big ones you bet today?
Texas El Paso, Rutgers, which I can't stop betting because I just think they're really good and they never play good. But that's part of handicapping. That's one of the tricky things in handicapping. I could bet the same team over and over and over because if I think a team is X, no matter how bad they may play, I still think they're X. I've talked about that ad nauseum here.
Right.
And I just can't believe that a Steve Piquel coach team with that talent is just not that good. He's had way less talent and done better. And I just kind of think that maybe with the conference tournaments coming, they'll
lock in.
I think they're capable of.
UTEP, Rutgers, and who?
And I bet Kansas State with plus 6.5, but the line moved. So I wouldn't be doing anything dramatic at the present price. But I took 7.5 with El Paso, and I took 1 and then 2 with Rutgers. So those are the 3 best, I think. And it hasn't been a great week. I haven't had conference tournaments oftentimes is more feel than power rating.
Yeah.
And by feel, I mean where, especially now where you get into the power conferences, it's like I said, it's smart strategy to dump. If you're like a Duke or an Auburn, you're a 1 seed. What do you care? Why do you want to kill your team? Like,
just get off your legs. Yeah.
Tony Bennett got knocked out in the first round because he wanted to win the ACC tournament. Now, he was playing. He had a 7-man rotation, 2 of them playing injured. He won the ACC tournament, and they had nothing left in that first round. They were completely humiliated because they had nothing left in the tank. Like, if I were a mid-major, I told this to a buddy, like, I would just dump the whole year. I would play man-to-man defense the whole year, practicing zone elsewhere, and just bring all these new set plays and all this new offense and defense into conference tournaments. And here, surprise, because that's all that matters.
Right.
It's those 3 or 4 games, as long as it's not some retarded bracketing like Sun Belt has, where you have to win 7 games in 7 days or something. If someone made a run on the Sun Belt, they'd have the ambulance outside carting the kids off as a 7-game. The whole thing was just ridiculous. And then the coach said, well, I like the new bracketing because it gets the 4 best teams in there. Yeah, all right. Well, just have the 4 best teams play then. That's what the Ivy does. How about just not having a conference tournament?
All right. Hey, we're out of time today, but hey, you are still coming in next week, right?
The flight's booked. I'll be there late Monday night, and you'll tell me where to go Tuesday, and I'll be there.
All right. We will see you here. Thanks, Alan. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, but good luck. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Alan Boston. Wow. Hey, gave us 2 good ones. So now we got to keep a lookout on Sunday. High Point and Troy.
High Point and Troy.
Those are the ones that have punched their tickets that he's like, yeah, they could be dangerous.
You know, High Point got that dude that made that meme mug. You see that video going around? Hold on, I'm just trying to find it real quick. Hold on. No, he made a shot. He was like,
oh, he meme mugged.
Like, yeah.
Shout out High Point.
Yeah, High Point, man. Shout out to him.
All right. Grizzlies going to be on Channel 5 tonight. Watch it on WMC, man. We're going to be on. All over the state.
You're going to be live.
All over the region.
Live like
all
Channel
over the
5.
region.
Does it feel good being on Channel 5 tonight?
I mean,
here we go.
He
found it quick. There we go. Watch this dude. Watch him.
This is High Point.
Watch the meme mug. Watch him. You're going to zoom in on the meme mug. Come on.
Show
you look at him.
All right, I'm a High Point fan.
Yeah, there you go.
That's amazing.
Team High Point, man.
All right, Grizzlies Utah tonight at FedEx Forum. Get on down to the game.
You got to do SkyDOG, right?
Oh yeah, SkyDOG. Who you got? Wiseacre. Always brought to you by Wiseacre. Go get the SkyDOG beer when you go to Kroger or Fresh Market. 99 calories, absolutely delicious. Won every award possible, and we're so proud of it here in Memphis. All right, SkyDOG of the game.
All right, underrated roller coaster, raggedy as hell, but great basketball player. I'm gonna go with Zip and Pippen. Scottie Pippen Jr.
I like it.
All right.
Why go away from it? Huff.
Oh Lord, here you go.
Huff.
There you go. Luke Kennard's back tonight.
Then that's the answer.
Oh, it is?
It's Luke Kennard.
Okay.
All right.
Luke Kennard's my SkyDOG of the game.
SkyDOG. Okay.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Till then, we gone.